Hi, this is ENX04, and today I have a special episode for you because we're going to build a revolutionary new copper farm that is both incredibly simple and powerful, based on the zombie reinforcement mechanic. At the time of this video's release, this is probably the fastest zombie reinforcement copper farm that you'll find, while simultaneously also being the simplest copper farm of any type that you will find, by far. It is comically simple to build, with construction taking as little as 90 seconds, using barely any materials, all of which are easily obtained. The farm is relatively lag efficient, as far as copper farms go. It's quick to start up, approaching full speed in about 5 minutes, but it's also self-throttling, so it slows itself down when the server reaches its performance limit. The farm also doesn't need a zombie spawner. There's no TNT duping, no snow golems or villagers or witches or llamas. You don't need to make tunnels. There aren't any long stretches of chains or fences. The natural terrain that you find in the end dimension will usually work just fine. This is truly a next-generation copper farm. The use of zombie reinforcements for copper farming was first introduced by Gnemban, and he did an outstanding job of describing the strategy and mechanisms involved in the process. I'll review some of the basic concepts, but if you haven't already seen Gnemban's video on the subject, go ahead and check it out to learn more about the details. The copper ingots for this farm come from killing drowns, which have a 17% chance of dropping copper when killed with looting 3. The drowns, in turn, are created by putting zombies underwater for 45 seconds, and so this copper farm is really about generating a lot of zombies. Both drowned and zombies have an interesting mechanic that exists only in hard difficulty, where they have a chance to summon additional zombies as reinforcements after they've been attacked. This alone would be self-limiting, as the next generation of reinforcements has progressively less and less chance of calling additional reinforcements. But this is greatly offset by the fact that after a zombie is converted to a drowned, it basically counts as a brand new mob with fresh reinforcement scores, so that it can call even more zombies. In particular, some of the drowns will be leaders, which can summon another 10 to 17 more zombies, so altogether this allows for an exponential growth of zombies and drowns. And since zombie reinforcements does not involve normal mob spawning mechanics, it's unaffected by the mob cap, so the number of mobs in the farm can increase and increase until the spawning spaces in the farm become saturated, resulting in hundreds or thousands of mobs in the farm. When a zombie or drowned summons a reinforcement, the game makes 50 attempts to find a suitable spawning location around the attacked mob. For each attempt, it randomly selects one of these 27 zones around the mob, and then selects a random location within that zone. There are these 4 narrow spawning zones that extend out horizontally in the cardinal directions away from the attacked mob. And these zones are of special interest because of the relatively small size of these zones, and having at least 2 of these spawning zones available virtually guarantees that a reinforcement zombie will have the opportunity to spawn in one of the zones, due to the 50 attempts the game will make to find a spawning location. In this farm design, hundreds of zombies and drowns are packed into a single space using a ladder to prevent entity cramming. The player is under the killing chamber and attacks an armor stand with a sword that has only looting 3 and mending. The zombies and drowns are injured by the sweep attack on the armor stand, and since the sword does not have sweeping edge or sharpness, this sweep attack corresponds to merely 1 point of damage to unarmored mobs, only half a heart. Zombies and drowns have 20 health points and actually have a tiny bit of natural armor, so you can hit them 22 times with a sweep attack before they die. For every sweep attack, all of the zombies and drowns here are just slightly injured, and every single one of them has a chance to call for reinforcements. The reinforcements arrive in the spawning zones and then immediately target the player, which leads them straight into the killing chamber. The ladders in the chamber prevent entity cramming and keep the zombies from pushing each other, which helps greatly with lag. Shortly after arriving, a water stream pushes them into the corner to trap the zombies and starts the process to convert them into drowns. A sweep attack every 2.25 seconds will be just fast enough to bring these zombies to the brink of death before they convert into drowns, which resets them to full health and re-rolls their zombie reinforcement score, including whether or not they're a leader, and then the player gets to slowly kill them all over again. When a drowned finally dies, its drops fall past this chain and come close enough to the player to be picked up. The player inventory serves as the sorting system for the farm to grab the copper ingots while all the other drops fall into a fire. XP orbs are close enough to the player to be picked up as well, and this is needed to keep the sword in shape. Some of the drops will fall on top of the chain, or miss the hole altogether, but fortunately, zombies and drowns tend to pick up any items that are nearby. So any missed drops will simply be recycled by other zombies and drowns until they finally fall into the hole for collection or burning. These magma blocks actually get a few drops on top of them too. The magma blocks are here to kill off any baby zombies and chicken jockeys, so that they don't clog up the farm. Interestingly, even these drops that land on the magma blocks are picked up by other mobs. All these recycled drops actually have an incredibly useful purpose, because mobs that pick up items won't despawn on their own. They're effectively name tagged. So when you stop using the farm, many of the mobs trapped inside the farm won't despawn, and they'll still be here when you want to use the farm again, allowing the farm to come up to speed quickly. As a result, you only need to worry about stocking a few zombies in the farm the first time that you want to use it, which is actually quite easy. And then the farm remains stocked with hundreds of drowns the next time that you want to start it up. The end dimension is really well suited for copper farms because the environment is perimeter-like. There's a lot of air and not much terrain, and the terrain that does exist is largely flat. Unlike the overworld, there aren't any hidden caves that can trap zombies, which would needlessly create lag. The light levels in the end are 0 by default, with no weather cycle or day-night cycle, making the end islands perfect for reinforcement spawning. The configuration of the player station helps with client-side performance. If you're familiar with my stacking raid farm, you've seen this arrangement before. The player stands inside the armor stand and looks down, while the mobs that are killed are above the player. Using an armor stand prevents any damage to the player in case a zombie spawns with Thorn's armor, but what's really special about this configuration is that the player field of view avoids the hundreds of mobs right above the player. As a result, the game doesn't try to render these mobs, which drastically improves the game's performance. Also like the stacking raid farm, when the player uses an external auto-clicker, any server lag will cause the click speed to be registered a little faster than its real-life speed. When this happens, the zombies are attacked more frequently in the game and are killed off before they get a chance to convert into drowns. This reduces the number of mobs in the farm until the lag subsides, and keeps the server close to its performance limit. Other players on the server may notice some lag, but it shouldn't cripple the server or make it completely unplayable. Okay, let's start building. Place a bed in the stronghold and set your spawn point before going to the end dimension. If you don't want to use the main island as your build site, you can use the same principles to build the farm on one of the outer islands. Remember that this farm works only in hard difficulty. It is completely pointless to build this farm in easy or normal difficulty. I also recommend that the local difficulty of your build site have a value of at least 3.0, which you can check on your F3 debug screen. This value is mostly determined by the age of your world and the amount of time that you've spent in that chunk. Realistically, by the time that you get to building a copper farm, your world will probably be old enough that this isn't an issue. But if you need to, you can AFK near the build site until the local difficulty is high enough. Recall that zombie reinforcements can spawn in this huge area of 27 zones around the attacked zombie or drowned, and we need to make sure that all of the zombies that spawn can find their way to the kill chamber. As a result, the build site should be at least 3 chunks away from any steep cliffs at the edges of the island, or the deep valleys that can exist between islands. These areas tend to trap the zombie reinforcements that spawn in them, but if you must build near these, you can spawn-proof these areas just by adding a few torches to raise the light level. Most of the time, though, you'll be able to find a good build site within the ring of obsidian pillars. Most of the farm's productivity comes from the spawning zones at the same Y level as the attacked mob, especially the 40-block-long linear zones along the cardinal directions radiating away from the mob. So try to find a build site that has at least 2 of these spawn zones in the natural terrain. For example, this location should work well, but if you have any trouble locating a spot like this, don't worry, you can just build out a spawning zone with a line of blocks instead. Mark the desired location of the kill chamber by replacing the end stone underneath it with a vertical chain. Your build site will likely be close to some obsidian pillars, so place a torch on top of any obsidian pillars within 3 chunks of distance. You'll probably also be close to the exit portal, so be sure to cover it up to make sure that you don't send zombies into the overworld. Also remove its torches to darken the area around the portal to promote spawning. Go back to the chain and remove 2 endstone blocks on adjacent sides of the chain. Dig down another 4 blocks under the chain, and then aim carefully a little to the side to set down a soul sand block at the bottom of the hole, and then ignite it. Place 2 top slabs next to the chain, stack 2 solid blocks in between 2 magma blocks opposite of the slabs, add signs on top of the magma blocks, and build out 2 walls at right angles away from the intersection, and place another 2 signs on the ends. Now stack 2 glass blocks diagonally next to the chain. Extend the glass to make a second set of intersecting walls the same size as the first. Go around to the other side of the glass to add 8 ladders along the base of the glass, and block off the back side of the signs over the magma blocks. Place a ladder on one of the magma blocks, and then add water next to the outer signs so that the water flows into the corner, and build out the ceiling with non-transparent solid blocks, starting with the signs over the magma blocks. Go back to the intersecting glass wall and add 4 top slabs to make a box around yourself, so that you would need to crouch down to get out. In the corner, dig out a small 2x2x2 room underground. Place an armor stand in the far corner, next to the top slabs, and add a ladder and a trapdoor. A crafting table and a couple of barrels will also be useful to help you manage inventory. This completes the farm, but there might be a little bit more to build in preparation for stocking the farm with zombies. Both you and the zombies will be arriving at the obsidian platform, and the zombies will start attacking you the instant you arrive. So if your platform is floating in air, make sure that you surround the platform with walls or fences or anything that will keep you from getting knocked into the void. Remember that the 3 layers of blocks over the platform are deleted whenever anything arrives on the obsidian platform, so be sure to build the containment just outside its perimeter, and make sure that you leave yourself a way out to reach the farm. Return to the stronghold and put on some armor that does not have the Thorns enchantment, since you want the zombies to reach the farm as close to full health as possible. Now make a trap so that zombies are tricked into entering the end portal. You can place a line of slabs under the middle of the portal, which you can walk over without teleporting, but zombies are a little bit taller than you, and touch the portal when they follow you. Alternatively, you can add 2 blocks directly over the portal as shown. When you stand in the middle, the zombies will walk around the portal frame and then fall into the portal on their own. You'll probably be able to find a few random zombies just from roaming the stronghold, especially if you go around removing torches and glow lichen. A night vision potion might be helpful to make it easier to navigate. When you find a zombie, try to stay within 32 blocks of distance from it so that it doesn't naturally despawn. Lure the zombie or zombies into the end portal, and each zombie will give you a roughly 30% chance of successfully stocking the farm. You can send the zombies through the portal a few at a time, or one at a time, whichever you feel is easier for you. Excess zombies can be stored in boats in case you need them later. When you're ready to go through the portal yourself, make sure that you have a sword with looting 3 and mending, but not sweeping edge or sharpness. Bring along some food, fill any empty inventory slots with junk items that are not dropped by zombies, and wear some basic armor without thorns. Hop into the portal and be prepared for zombies to start attacking you immediately, even during the loading screen. Head back to the farm, again keeping the zombies within 32 blocks behind you so that they don't despawn. When you're close to the farm, go ahead and punch each zombie once so that they lock onto you. Go to the player station and stand with the armor stand, and you should see the zombies enter the farm and become trapped. Close the trapdoor to the player station to stay safe, and look down at the armor stand and attack it every 2.25 seconds, or 2,250 milliseconds, with an auto-clicker. Check back every 5 minutes or so. If all the zombies and drowns are killed off, you'll need to return to the stronghold to find more zombies and try again. Otherwise, keep building up the number of zombies and drowns until you see a steady stream of them pouring into the farm. Once the farm is properly stocked with zombies and drowns, you can start using it for copper. You'll need 2 swords, and it's important not to get them confused with each other. One sword is for running the farm, and it has only looting 3, mending, and perhaps unbreaking. The other sword is for culling the farm, and it has sharpness 5 and sweeping edge 3. I'll discuss culling in a moment. You'll also need some food and a bucket of water. Place the rest of your inventory into a barrel and place a single copper ingot into each of your remaining inventory slots. Waterlog the ladder so that the water pushes you all the way into the corner so that you'll be able to pick up all the copper drops that fall past the chain. Look straight down at the armor stand and attack with your looting 3 and mending sword every 2.25 seconds or 2,250 milliseconds using an external auto-clicker program. Don't use Carpet Mod or any other server-based auto-clicker, since this will not let the farm throttle itself and will likely turn your server into a painful slideshow. You'll need to pause using the farm when your inventory fills up, so check back in 15 to 20 minutes or so, depending on the speed of your farm, which can vary based on your specific server. Step out of the armor stand and pick up the water. Remember that you won't be able to right-click anything while you're standing inside the armor stand. This is a good opportunity to eat if needed, and convert copper ingots into blocks for storage before continuing to use the farm. As you use the farm, the drowns and zombies gradually become better and better armored because they pick up armor left behind from previous zombies. Eventually, there'll be an excess of armor, and this slows down the farm because much of this armor will be constantly shuffled around by the mobs, contributing to lag. To fix this, use the sword with sharpness 5 and sweeping edge 3 to cull the mobs in the killing chamber. Attack the armor stand about once per second, and do this for 4 or 5 seconds to quickly slaughter the mobs in the killing chamber, so that much of their armor falls past the chain into the fire. Shortly afterward, new reinforcements that were summoned during the culling process will arrive to replace the ones that have died. To get rid of even more excess armor in the farm, collect the water from the corner and empty an inventory slot in your hotbar so that you pick up an item of armor from the killing chamber, and then hold down the drop key or control drop key while aiming just under the chain, and this will dispose of the excess armor in the fire. When you're done, waterlog the ladder again, and switch back to your normal sword, with looting 3 and mending, to continue using the farm. When you're finally done using the farm, just stop attacking the armor stand and wait for the zombies to pile into the killing chamber. Pick up the water and your belongings and then leave, but be careful since a few mobs might be still roaming outside. If you would like to upgrade the farm to allow for longer AFK sessions, you can set up a regeneration beacon so that you don't have to eat. Place the beacon away from any spawning surfaces so that its light doesn't interfere. Also replace the soul sand with a collection system. In 1.19, you can use hopper minecarts for collection, and to pull the excess armor out of the farm, so that you don't need to cull the farm. If you would like to slow down your farm so that it's not constantly pushing the limits of your server, you can add torches around the farm to prevent zombie reinforcements from spawning around them. As you get experience, make adjustments by adding or removing some of the torches, until you're happy with the speed of your farm, and its impact on your server. And if you would like to increase the speed of your farm, consider using performance mods such as sodium, lithium, and tweakaroo, which will help your game run as efficiently as possible. And remember that the tutorial that I covered today is just an example. There are many variants of this farm that apply the same principles, so feel free to adapt this farm to different situations. You can build the farm on an artificial island, or in the overworld with tunnels, either in the sky or underground, or really underground. Just remember to check the video description before you start your build, so that you can get the most up-to-date information, tips, and corrections. Before I go, I'd like to share one of my favorite quotations, attributed to Isaac Newton, that if I've seen further, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. It's meant to convey an appreciation for the work of others on which progress is built. And when it comes to this copper farm, one of my giants is Turtle 0628. He spent months studying and experimenting with copper farms, establishing many design elements and operating principles on which this farm design is based. So thank you, Turtle, for your hard work, creativity, and contributions to this revolutionary farm. Check out the video description to learn more about Turtle's farm design, which includes this brilliant spawning tunnel design that takes advantage of the game's pathfinding mechanics to automatically refresh the spawning spaces after reinforcements are summoned. I'd also like to thank my Discord community for reviewing the drafts of this farm and of this video. So many people have volunteered their time to test out the design, offer their feedback, and design improvements to this farm. This project was particularly fun for me, and I hope that you've enjoyed it as well. Thanks for watching.